Just recently finished this painting of Joseph sleeping as he wished. It was my first intention was to paint Joseph as he slept usually in a sitting posture, but I just couldn't do that. I find it a very moving and upsetting subject, and I painted this instead. Perhaps in the future I will try to go back to that subject and have another go, but for me it's very difficult. It's very difficult to imagine Joseph sleeping in that way. It's probably from Tom Norman, not Mr. Treves, that we hear first about how Joseph actually slept. While he was in the Whitechapel shop, Tom Norman had put up a curtain between Joseph and his bed and the rest of the room to give him some privacy. And one morning in the early hours, Tom Norman suddenly woke up, and through the crack in the curtain he could see Joseph sitting up, asleep. Norman was at once concerned and alarmed even by this. Joseph woke up and he asked him, he said, "Are you ill?" Joseph replied, "No, I'm not ill. This is the way I usually sleep. This is the way I have to sleep." And Joseph carries on in his usual dark humour, which he sometimes does have, and he speaks about himself, that to sleep laying down would risk him waking with a broken neck. Tom Norman is moved by this, and he tries to find a way to help Joseph sleep in comfort. I said this before. He engaged the help of a carpenter he knew, Mr. Joe Winton, and his wife, and they tried to make this kind of yoke affair that could be strapped to Joseph's shoulders, and made a basket work and lined it with lambs so it'd be comfortable for him. And I tried to see if that would help him sleep easier, but it did not work, unfortunately. There was no way that Joseph could recline back and sleep in any more comfort. But it was a kind thought to try. I always do consider that Tom Norman was a friend to Joseph, not just his manager. There's no information of when Joseph first started to have to sleep in this way. I would think it was in his early teens. I would think that definitely in the workhouse when he was about 17 he had to sleep like that. His head had got so large by that time. When he was in the hospital as a permanent resident, a bed was made especially for him. All they could manage though, but of course it was done with kindness because they was trying to help. They made him this couch type of bed, which was stuffed with horsehair and covered with leather. And Joseph pushed himself back into the soft pillows at his back to give him some support, and then he'd sleep in his usual posture. I imagine also the practicalities of having to sleep like that. I mean, how on earth did he keep warm? How to pull the covers around himself to keep warm with just one hand? And quite apart from the physical pain of having to sleep like that, he must have woken up throughout the night in terrible discomfort several times, especially the pain in his left hip. He must have been stiff. Very difficult to imagine it. I try to imagine also these days if we could do anything for Joseph, if we could somehow transport him to here just to help him in this way. And I imagine to myself that maybe nowadays a bed could especially be made for him that would be, the mattress would be somehow moulded to fit him exactly, and the back of his head, so he could move, but also enough to keep it, give him that sense of safety, and then recline back very slowly so he could at least sleep in more comfort. It's really an emotional subject, and it's very important to me. As I said, maybe in the future I'll go back to this subject and try and do another painting of it. Anyway, at the moment, I'm just going back to an older painting I did. Joseph was a little boy. I'm just making some slight changes to the area around his mouth and on his brow, just to give a more defined suggestion of the early signs of this deformity. Just suggestions, subtle, not too harsh, of course, but to make it more clear. After that, I'm thinking of doing some Joseph still lifes, and by that I mean, all the things we associate with Joseph. Do some drawings first. His hat, books, a pocket watch, the signet ring, flowers always, of course, he loved flowers, nature. So that's what I'm going to do next, I think. So I know I've said all this before about his sleeping and how I personally find it upsetting. I just wanted to express it again, to refresh what I've said before. How I moved on the subject. Anyway, Joseph is lovely always. Thank you for your interest.